All right, good morning. The August 18th Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting of the City of Longview is now called to order. Today's meeting is being conducted by a teleconference to abide by county, state, and federal recommendations to limit in-person gatherings to help slow the spread of the coronavirus. We thank you for understanding. I would like to introduce two new regular board members to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Christy Cravey and Pat O'Rear, and three new alternate board members, Jordan Johnson, Janice Shaw, and Blake Williams. I, Dutch DeBlau, have been appointed chairperson, along with Kurt Billiard, who has been appointed vice chair. All appointments were made by City Council in June of this year. Welcome to the board. We would like to thank our two previous board members, Chet Harkey and Jason Jones, for their service to the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Next, we have roll call. Due to the format of this meeting, we will begin this morning with a roll call to confirm all members of the board are present and able to participate in our considerations. Board members, when I call your name, will you please respond in the affirmative if you are present? I, Dutch DeBlau, am present. Kurt Villiard.
Here.
Jim Mobley.
Present.
Present.
Who's that?
Pat O'Rear. There you go, Pat.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, and then Christy Cravey.
I'm here.
All right, we'll also do a roll call of the city staff, which we have City Planner Angela Choi.
Here.
All right, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting in May. Has everyone had a chance to look at them? And if so, are there any corrections that need to be made?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
On the motion, can you please state your name?
Jim Mobley, motion to approve.
All
Pat
right,
O'Rear, motion second.
all right, we've got Pat O'Rear for a second. We will conduct a roll call vote. I will ask each board member in turn for their vote. When asked, please indicate your vote by saying A or nay. I, Dutch DeBlau, say A. Kurt Villiard.
A.
Jim Mobley.
A.
Pat O'Rear.
A.
Christy Cravey.
Hey.
Staff will now confirm the record of the vote.
Thank you. Jim Mobley made the motion. Pat O'Rear seconded the motion. The vote was 5-0. It was unanimous.
All right, the motion passes. All right, we have now reached the citizen comment portion of our meeting. Those wishing to participate in citizen comment today were invited to access this meeting through a link to register with the teleconferencing application. This portion of citizen comment are comments made other than the public hearing items we have on the agenda today. If you wish to speak on an item on the agenda, please wait until that time to speak. Richard Deakley is coordinating the technical side of the meeting and will assist with moderating the citizen comment portion of our meeting. When you are called to speak, you'll be unmuted and given one opportunity to speak. Please begin by stating your name and address for the public record. If you're also watching a live stream of this meeting through CityView Municipal Television, please mute it to avoid feedback. Richard, do we have any residents who want to speak today?
We do have a couple of people logged on to the meeting, but they look to be associated with particular cases. If you're on the meeting and you're wanting to talk during citizen comment, you can raise your hand in the teleconferencing application. I'm not seeing any, so I think you're safe to move on to the cases.
Okay, then we'll move on to the regular agenda. The purpose of this meeting is to hear all pertinent testimony regarding the proposed variances. This hearing is required by law to approve any variance to the City of Longview zoning ordinance and sign ordinance. The procedure for public hearing items to be followed today will be: the public hearing will be opened, and testimony will be heard in the following order. First, staff. Second, the applicant. And third, the general public, those in support or in opposition to the request. If you are part of a large group with a common interest, we ask that you appoint a spokesperson rather than have each individual restate the same information. When addressing the board, please begin by stating your name and address. Try to limit your comments to 5 minutes. When all sides have spoken, the public hearing on the matter will be closed and no further public discussion will be entertained. After each public hearing is closed, the board will vote on the request. And we are now on to item A of the regular agenda. A public hearing will be held to consider application Victor 20-05 filed by Mark Patel for a variance to the sign height requirements of the City of Longview sign ordinance, Article 3, Section 85-52, to allow for a sign approximately 66 feet and 6 inches tall instead of the required 45 feet maximum for a pole sign located at 431 East Loop 281. City Planner Angela Choi will give a staff presentation.
Thank you. The sign ordinance states that freestanding pole signs in heavy commercial zoning district must have at least a 15-foot setback from the right-of-way and cannot exceed 5 feet in height. The current sign that you see on the PowerPoint presentation is a non-conforming sign in regards to the sign height with an overall height of 75 feet and was built before the current sign regulations were adopted in 2003. Modifications that are proposed by the applicant would require that the sign be brought into compliance. The applicant would like to utilize the current pole sign and would shorten the sign to 66 feet and 6 inches. The proposed sign would be smaller than the existing one with a sign face of approximately 162 square feet. In assessing the property, the existing pole sign is situated over 200 feet from Loop 281 and behind other properties and buildings, thus making it harder to see the sign if it were lowered to the required 45 feet height restriction. Also, allowing the sign to stay at its current location will promote sustainability by not requiring the creation of new materials for the pole. The sign would comply with all other requirements except for the height. Staff does recommend approval of this request, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
All right, are there any questions for Angela and this part of the presentation? All right, if not, does the applicant of any...
Angela?
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
So, were there any considerations? All right, so you're on right now. Y'all said y'all didn't have any problems, I guess, with the new sign height of, what is it, 56 or something?
Yeah, so the new height will be 66 feet, and that's to the top of the sign.
Right.
You know, the pole will actually remain, but since that sign is getting a little smaller, it shortens the overall height.
Okay, so right next door, you've got Comfort, and then you've got Fairfield. Do you have any idea what those signs are? Because I can see those from the loop, and they don't. Now, granted, they're not nothing's, I guess, as high as Home Depot. I mean, you can see that from Gladewater.
Yeah.
But what are the signs next door on the two hotels? Or do we know?
I don't know the height of those other signs.
Okay, because those are their immediate next door neighbors, and I at this point believe that they should conform to those. So basically, they're just doing a rebranding. It looks like.
Yes.
From a Wyndham to a Holiday Inn Express, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay.
Does anybody else have a question for Angela? All right, if not, then let's move on to the applicant. Does the applicant have anything to add or would like to speak on the request?
Anoop Patel is here. I've just unmuted him. Anoop, if you have anything you want to add.
Yeah, I'm here with Mark as well. The question you brought up regarding the Comfort and Fairfield, their signs may be, we don't know the height of their signs. I know they're a little close to ours, but we have a really big head on our sign, which makes our current sign a little bit bigger. But I think that the challenge we're facing is a setback. We're from the loop. I mean, some of the pictures that we kind of saw through this thing, like the one we're looking at in the PowerPoint right now, you can't see the Comfort sign, and the Comfort is right there, right next to us. from this view, I mean, you can see the comfort sign, but you can see how low it is. But if we drop our sign down to the 45, you're going to be hidden behind Discount Tire. So that would also be a challenge for us because of our location of our building. I mean, we have a pretty further setback. And Mark is also on the line. I don't know if he wants to say anything. He just joined in through my call. He's not on the village meeting.
I'd just like to add that both the Comfort and the Fairfield do face the loop, and you can actually see their buildings, you know, as you go up and down the loop. So, and that's what I want to say. They do actually face. So, I mean, they really don't even need signage if they don't, you know, if they don't require it. But it is what it is at this moment. Like Anup says, we are pretty much set back, almost next to the Lowe's building.
We're pretty much hidden behind Lowe's and behind Discount Tire from either direction of the loop, and especially from a lower car visibility. I mean, that those two buildings are going to easily cover our low sign if we were to have a lower sign. I think that's all we have to kind of add to this.
Okay, all right. And does the board have any questions for the staff or the applicant on this item? If you do ask a question, please state your name. All right. If there's no other questions, I will open the public hearing. Are there any in support of this request? If so, please state your name and address for the staff.
No one is registered at this time.
Okay. All right. Are there any in opposition to the request? If so, please state your name and address for the staff.
No one is registered at this time.
Okay. Does anybody else in the meeting have any additional questions or comments? And when you do ask a question or comment, please state your name for the staff. Any board members or staff members?
Yeah, this is Pat. Angela, did you say that the board did recommend approving it?
Staff made a recommendation to approve.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, it was kind of cutting out a little bit. Just wanted to be sure.
All right. If there's no more additional comments, I will close the public hearing. I will now entertain a motion. When making a motion, please state your name for staff.
Jim Mobley, motion to approve.
All right. A motion has been made. Is there a second?
Christy Cravey, motion to second. Second to motion.
All right. There's a first and a second. We will now conduct a roll call vote. I will ask each board member in turn for their vote. When asked, please indicate your vote by saying A or nay. I, Dutch Blau, vote A. Kurt Villiard,
Nay.
Jim Mobley,
A.
Beto Rear,
Hey,
Christy Cravey.
A.
All right, staff will now confirm the record of the vote.
Thank you. The motion was made by Jim Mobley, seconded by Christy Cravey. The vote was 4-1 with Kurt Villiard voting in opposition. The vote does pass.
All right, and let's move on to regular agenda item B. And Angela, was I supposed to read this or were you going to read that?
You, feel free to read the caption.
All
Yes.
right, a public hearing will be held to consider application Victor 20-06 filed by Amanda Height for a variance to the front setback requirements of the City of Longview zoning ordinance, Article 9, Section 103, to allow for approximately 33-foot, 8-inch front setback instead of the required 35-foot front minimum for a single-family dwelling located at 611 Berkshire Drive, Lot 1, Block 10-1, Hampshire Place Edition, Unit Number 4. City Planner Angela Choi will give a staff presentation. There we go.
Thank you. The applicant is requesting a variance to the front setbacks of the City of Longview zoning ordinance to allow for an encroachment into the front setback. There was a previous dwelling that was located on the property and it was destroyed. However, the owner has decided to keep the existing slab, as you can see on the aerial. The existing slab in the previous structure encroached into the front setback by 1 foot 4 inches. Setbacks do provide uniformity to neighborhoods, provides adequate space for light and air circulation, and provides open space for landscaping and recreational use. They also provide distance between neighbors to mitigate noise, odor, and fire protection. Currently, there are many homes within the same block that are encroaching into the front setback. Most of the homes are on the south side of Berkshire. However, there is one on the north side that is encroaching into the front setback. Due to the existing encroachments of other structures within the block, staff does not feel that this variance request will impact any surrounding property, and staff recommends approval of this request. I would be happy to answer any questions at this time.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Angela concerning this agenda item? All right, if not, I'm going to move on to the applicant. Does the applicant have anything to add or would like to speak on the request?
Amanda is here. She is self-muted. So if she wants to speak, she can unmute herself at this time and talk. I'm showing her as self-muted.
All right. in that
Okay,
case-
I don't have
There we
any
go.
comments.
Okay, no comments. All right, does the board have any questions for staff or the applicant on the item? When asking a question, please state your name for the staff. All right, no questions. I will now open the public hearing. Are there any in support of this request?
No one is registered at this time.
All right, is there anybody registered in opposition for the request?
No one is registered at this time.
All right, if anybody has any additional questions or comments, please ask now. Also, please state your name for the staff. All right, if there's no more additional comments, I will close the public hearing and I will now entertain a motion. When making a motion, please state your name for the staff.
Kurt Billiard, motion to approve.
All right, their motion has been made. Is there a second?
Jim Mobley, second.
All right, there's a first and a second. We will now conduct a roll call vote. I will ask each board member in turn for their vote. When asked, please indicate your vote by saying A or nay. I, Dutch DeBlau, vote A. Kurt Villiard,
A.
Jim Mobley,
A.
Pat O'Rear,
A.
Christy Cravey.
A.
All right, staff will now confirm the record of the vote.
Thank you. The motion was made by Kurt Villiard, seconded by Jim Mobley. The vote was 5-0 to approve.
All right, we'll move on to the regular agenda item C. A public hearing will be held to consider application Victor 20-07 filed by Aaron Corticari for a variance to the front setback requirements of the City of Longview zoning ordinance, Article 9, Section 103, to allow for approximately 12.51 foot front setback instead of the required 18-foot front minimum for a gasoline service station pump island located at 4700 Judson Road, Lot 16 and 17, Block 1, Sunnyside Estates. City Planner Angela Choi will give a staff presentation.
Thank you. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow for the replacement of gasoline pumps. Article 9, Section 103 requires an 18-foot front setback minimum from the front property line for a gasoline service pump island. With the replacement of the pumps, the site would be required to come into compliance with current codes and regulations. The applicant is proposing a 12.51 foot front setback to allow for the existing pump island instead of relocating it 18 feet from the property line. Evaluating the site, it appears that relocating the pumps would push the canopy and the pumps into the required fire lane. It would also limit the traffic to one-way instead of two-way. Staff does not feel that this variance request will impact any surrounding properties, and staff recommends approval of this request. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Angela on this agenda item? All right, if not, we'll move on to the applicant. Does the applicant have anything to add or would like to speak on the request?
Yes, thank you. Arun is here. I'm not seeing that his audio is connected at this time. We're seeing if he can get on or if he cares to speak, but he doesn't look like his audio is connected at this moment. Oh, he's raising his hand, so he does intend to speak. He's trying to get his audio connected.
Okay, we'll stand by for a minute.
Mr. Kodakari, I sent you a pin that you may have to put into your phone in order to connect your audio.
Angela, can you still answer your question?
Yes.
What's the biggest concern here that we're getting approval? It's just the setback for the pump from the street? Is that
Yeah, and so the zoning ordinance says that pump islands have to be 18 feet from the front property line. And so
the zone ordinance isn't necessarily like anything from a safety or
it's not. And honestly, it meets all of the safety from the fire code and the building code. I checked with our staff on that, and it meets all of their requirements.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks.
You're welcome.
It looks like we are still having difficulty getting his audio connected at this time.
All right, we'll stand by for another minute then. Is there anybody else on the board that has a question for the staff? All right, so what I'll do is we'll go to the public hearing and then we'll circle back to the applicant if we can get the audio connected. Are there any people that are in opposition or support of this that have registered?
Yep, no one is registered at this time.
Okay. Let's see if we can get Aaron on the line here.
We did send him a message through the teleconferencing software asking if we can convey any message for him that he can respond to by typing as opposed to talking if he's unable to get his audio connected, but he has not responded at this time. I just received a message that he is here and working on it.
Okay.
He just says if there's any questions for him, he'd be happy to answer.
Okay, is there anybody on the board that has any questions for Arun concerning this matter? All right, if there's no additional comment, I'll close the public hearing, and I will now entertain a motion. In making a motion, please state your name for the staff.
Jim Mobley, motion to approve.
Motion second.
All right, motion has been made, and there was a second. We will now conduct a roll call vote. I will ask each board member in turn for their vote. When asked, please indicate your vote by saying A or nay. I, Dutch DeBlau, vote A. Kurt Villiard,
A.
Jim Mobley,
A.
Ed O'Rear,
A.
Christy Cravey.
A.
All right, staff will now confirm the record of the vote.
The motion was made by Jim Mobley, seconded by Pat O'Rear. The vote was 5-0 to approve.
All right. In closing, please know that it's possible our next View Zoning Board of Adjustment meetings will be conducted by teleconference just like this one. And we are adjourned. Thank you.